This is a story about falling in love with the road again, but it began somewhere completely different. Do you want to come along? On May 26th, we boarded a 38-hour ferry with nothing but ourselves and our van, leaving behind the volcanic island of Fuerteventura, heading for the Spanish mainland. We had lived off-grid on this island for 6 months, and I felt it. Watching the silhouettes of Fuerteventura's rugged landscape faded behind us, glowing in golden light from the setting sun, one last time. A part of me didn't want to leave, but the mainland greeted us with something magical. Spring.
Everything is so green.
After so long on a dry and barren island, I suddenly realized I had forgotten what the world looks like in full bloom. Lush greenery, wildflowers dancing in the wind, and the songs of countless birds celebrating the arrival of the season, and we headed straight to the mountains. Tucked away in the Catalan hills lies a quiet corner of the wild, with still waters and deep green slopes. As spring has arrived, even this mountainous part of Spain had started to warm, and the scent of sun-warmed earth hung gently in the air. I'll be honest with you, it got to me. Coming from Sweden, I'm used to long months of nature being in deep sleep, endless darkness, barely any daylight. And living in a big city during those months makes me feel like I've seen every possible shade of grey. But when spring comes back home, it's such a slow transition. By the time the colors return, I've already adjusted. It never really hits me. This time was different. After spending months in the desert, crossing the sea and suddenly being surrounded by life and vibrant green, it left me speechless. It felt like experiencing spring for the very first time. The way I imagine a child must feel the first time they see snow. I had a couple of these days where this filled me with such a gratitude of our new surroundings. For the birds, the mountains, the colors, for all this life. Something I've experienced so many times before suddenly felt so new. It didn't take away from the beauty of where we had been before. It just deepened my love for the contrast of this life on the road.
Today is one of those days when van life is really beautiful and also sucks. We have been here for 2 days, and even though the place is gorgeous, driving here we heard this really bad sound coming from our brakes, and taking a closer look at them upon arrival, let's just say we have to face the fact that both of our front brakes are completely toast. We need to get help with that as soon as possible for obvious reasons. It sucks a lot financially because driving all the way to Sweden is expensive as it is, and Since we need to be there in less than a month to get the car inspected, it's not like we can save up money on gas by staying parked somewhere, which otherwise is a beautiful way to save up some money whenever that's necessary, living on the road. But that's not the case, not this time. So the mission of today, however, is to go to a mechanic and see if we can get some help.
Échale una orilla.
Una hora. En timme.
Here it is, the verdict of today's mission. 200 euros, which is not too bad, but also for a temporary solution, because just as we thought, our brake pads on our front brakes were completely worn out. But when he was trying to fix it and trying to loosen the bolt on the brake caliper, he actually ended up breaking his own tool. So in the end of the day, he was never able to replace the brake discs. He did, however, replace the brake pads. So with a little bit of luck, that will be just enough for us to make it back to Sweden. And if it isn't, we also ended up buying a set of discs and pads, so in case of emergency and if we need to find another workshop somewhere along the road, at least we have all the pieces we need with us, so we don't have to spend extra days waiting for new ones.
We decided to spend the weekend in a sleepy village in Aragon. Here we found a quiet park up, surrounded by blooming poppies with another stunning mountain view, and a little town perched on a hill across the water. Spring gave us yet another couple of sun-warm days, and finally, Babe got out on the water with his paddleboard, gliding through natural labyrinths where trees grow straight from the shallows. Running through Nuevalos is the Rio Piedra, a small but powerful river that has shaped the landscape for centuries. It's thanks to this river that the area also is home to waterfalls, caves, and lush green valleys. I can imagine the waterfalls being spectacular, but since they're all a part of a gated, ticketed park, which, as you might have guessed if you've been with us for a while, isn't really our thing, we chose to hike just along the river on our own instead. And it was beautiful. Somewhere along the way, we spotted mountain goats watching over the valley. A first for me. It felt good to have a calm and easy weekend before getting ready to continue our long drive to Sweden. There were probably good reasons, given the state of our brakes, to avoid any more detours into the mountains, but there was one last spot we had saved in our travel map for almost a year and just had to stop by. The deep green hills and mirror-like waters of Santa Ana. The mountain itself rises like a guardian, not the tallest, not the most dramatic, but there's something magnetic about it, something sacred. Some say its energy has drawn people here long before GPS ever could. Once a year, this peaceful place transforms, becoming the home of one of Spain's most psychedelic festivals, called the Own Spirit Festival. The stillness then gives way to 5 days of rhythm, music, and spiritual connection, all in this wild and remote corner of the world. It's so cool to see the area for the festival. It's really beautiful. It's in the midst of the mountains, and we actually wanted to come here with our van, but the festival was going on in September and we were already driving towards Gran Canaria at the time. We also had another idea that it would be so cool to just spend a day on the water with our paddleboards. So even if we didn't join the festival, we could just spend a day on the water and just feel the vibe from a psytrance festival going on. That would be so nice. Maybe that's something that we should put up on our buckets list, because it's really incredible out here. And even if it's really quiet now, you really still can feel good vibes and nice energy out here. This week, being back on the road, the way we used to know it before we chose to stay in Fuerteventura for as long as we did, reminded me of something. Actually, a few things. It reminded me of the hard parts of life on the road, the rainy days that keep you stuck in the van, the fragility of having your car as your only home, especially when it breaks, but also of the beauty that comes after the rain. It reminded me of something else too, something I think we may have lost sight of lately, that it's never really been about finding the perfect place, the most scenic spot, or the dreamiest location, because even those eventually become familiar. And maybe that's exactly what we have done. Travel the world in search of belonging, chasing corners of the earth that made us stop craving constant change, feeling at home right where we were, forgetting that the newness was the whole reason we chose to hit the roads in the first place. It's like I've been subconsciously searching for a home, so that when people ask me where I want to live, I would have something to say. And maybe I do now. Maybe the answer is everywhere. I want to live everywhere. I know that will probably change someday, because everything does, eventually. But for now, I truly want the journey more than the destination. Falling in love with the road again.